Very good morning. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. I wishing you all a very happy Guru Var. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. We'll continue from where we stopped, chapter 50, detailed exposition of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra. My most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Nath. Yesterday we stopped at verse 146. I will continue from verse 147. What is called Panchikaran is the manifestation of the form of Maya, and to understand it, the only means is Adhyaroop and Apavad. The five elements, when not combined and a gross or a panchikrit, or called panchatan tanmatra, their function is to bring to the pran, mind and intellect, the astral body of the Atman. See the five elements that have undergone Panchikaran. From there is born Virat, that being the name by which the Jnanis call the physical manifestation, the gross body of that universal Atman, which is the Virat Swarup, which Lord Shri Krishna gave a vision of his Virat Swarup to Arjuna. It is only ignorance of the real self which is the efficient cause of the gross body, Sthul Deha, and of the astral body, Sukshma or Linga Deha. Know that it is apparently substantial but unreal and unmanifest, and is the efficient cause of the Atman. I am simply going to put it like this. See, the moment we try to decipher this, it's beyond again comprehensible. You cannot even understand with your mind. It's not understood. This is not something you can explain, or it's understandable using your mind, body, senses and the five organs. It doesn't work like that. Now this knowledge you have to evolve on the path, and you have to decipher, and you have to experience it. That is why I keep saying this is self-realization. Let us not bother with this. What has Lord Shri Krishna said? Shri Krishna said just have absolute faith, complete surrender, unconditional pure love and exclusive devotion. Loving devotion is the only thing that you need to have unto the lotus feet of your Guru and Lord Shri Krishna. When you have that, whatever the knowledge that is required, he on his own will give it to you. So let's not do this gymnastics. So I am just going to go ahead. This well known as Karan Sharir or Karan Deha, which is the reflection of the pure consciousness and is also called illusory and unmanifest, is created only out of ignorance. See, again, all this, the summary of this or the essence of what is being taught here is simple. Whether you take this mind, body, senses, intellect, gunas, everything is only created out of ignorance. That is what is being said here. You have to transcend beyond the mind, body, senses, ego, arrogance, the three gunas and Maya to understand the real self. So you cannot use your mind, body, intellect, senses, the five elements, nothing. You cannot understand in the manifest domain. That is the essence of what is being taught here. Ignorance of the Atma is the cause of this, which is neither with bodily organs nor without them, nor is it both. This body is destroyed only with the knowledge of oneness between the Brahman and the Atman. To be self-absorbed is itself called moksha. There is no moksha other than this. To be fixed in the true self is the moksha. Now again, this is a very beautiful verse. What is Baba explaining here? To be self-absorbed itself is itself called moksha. There is no moksha other than this, which is very profound. What is he teaching here? He's telling, imagine you and this world, we all at any given point in time, our mind is lost in material worldly objects. It is either thinking, oh, tomorrow there is a wedding I have to attend, oh, my marriage is happening, I have to do this, or I have a job to attend, I have to take care of my family, I fought with my parents, I did this, how could they speak to me? Somebody is insulting me, somebody gave me an award, there is a recognition happening. There's so many different things going on simultaneously. Do you see in all of this, there is also certain elements of good, there is certain elements of bad, according to your own, karma. So the good and bad depends on your karma alone, but what might be favorable to you is also going to be unfavorable to another being. So where is the question of right and wrong? What appears to be right for you, it's wrong from the other person's point of view. That is why my Guruji will say, my Krishna Guruji will always say this. See, everybody's right in their point of view. The truth is very different. So to understand what is the truth is you have to go beyond, you have to go deeper. But if you're using your mind to understand what is right and wrong, then it is only your point of view how you're looking at the same object or the same situation. But be in the divine Lord's position, and when you can think like him, nobody can think like him, that's a different story, but just for the heck of saying it, right, you will see that it's far beyond. How do you judge what is right and wrong is phenomenal, and you are nobody to judge that. And that is what my Krishna Guruji will say. What is favorable to some becomes an unfavorable to another person. So what the same object can appear in both the good and bad perspective, but it is only the one who is looking at it, whose perspective it is. So that is why we should not get into it. So that what here Baba is saying is that, look, so we are lost in our world, thinking about so many mundane, petty stuff, which has no value. So where is the question of us being self-absorbed? So the only moksha, what does liberation means? The liberation is free from all these mental torture that you give to yourself. And please understand, the bodily afflictions and everything is because of your mind alone. There is nothing wrong with you. This body, this deha is the sharir. This is the temple, which is where you have to realize the divinity. So you have to go inwards. You should not abuse it. You have to take good care of it. Good care of it doesn't mean you have to pamper it. Please understand. The moment you pamper and fall prey to your body, then you're never going to get out of tamas. So the point is that you have to treat it like a vehicle. You have to make good use of it to reach your destination, to attain your goal, which is the spiritual being. Okay, not getting, enjoying sensual pleasures. That is not why this body is being given to you. So this is what Baba is saying. It's a freedom from all the thoughts that you have, you keep constantly going on in your mind, which irritates you. Some irritates you, some makes you feel happy. Again, what is it you're doing? Yo. Pairs of opposites. The day you overcome this, and when you're centered, absorbed, self-absorbed, is itself moksha. That is the true liberation. There is no other liberation. There is nothing like liberation at all. So then it doesn't matter what anybody is saying, anybody does. It doesn't affect you. You're in the blissful state. That is moksha. And that you can only attain moksha. Moksha moolam gurur krupam. Without the grace of your guru, you cannot attain this state, but for which you have to put lot of effort, extraordinary effort, self-effort, deep sadhana, all that is a must. You cannot ever cross over without going through this. So be your good self. The only way to attain this state is by being able to see Lord Shri Krishna in this entire universe. And then serve his purpose. When you serve his universe, you're serving him. You're serving his purpose. Please understand. Don't live in the ego. The moment you live in your ego, you're on your downward spiral. You're going into the gutters. Please be sure about it. There are no two ways about it. The day you give in to your ego, arrogance, all your haughtiness, pride, thinking that I am the greatest thing that's happened in this world, there is nobody greater than me. Please understand, your downfall is very soon. You're already on that downfall journey. So don't get into it. Always be humble. Never let success get to your head, nor failure to your heart. And please understand, don't run after success, money, any of these things. It is not worth it. What has to come to you will anyways come to you. The only thing you have to strive for excelling in everything that you do. Become the best version of yourself. Become very good. There is no comparison. Yesterday, I was talking in one of the conferences and somebody asked me a question. So I was giving an example to them, what it is to be great, or how do we, think forward thinking? How do we think beyond our own lifespan? Because that's what I was giving a description of who is a visionary. How do you become an innovator? To that, I just gave an example of Elon Musk. So this person said something very nice. The person asked me, There is only one Elon Musk. So how do we then become that? So my answer is simply this, which my Krishna Guruji has taught. We are not asking you to become an Elon Musk. Only Elon Musk is Elon Musk. We're just saying, take the lessons from what you can learn from him. Apply that in your life. So we have to take the good from everybody. This is what my Krishna Guruji will teach us. He says, see, what every person has a very beautiful thing. There's a talent, that inborn talent, God-given talent we see, God-given abilities. You must just pick that up, learn the good aspect. You can apply the lessons in your own life. And doesn't mean you have to become Elon Musk. What we are giving, the example is given so that you can become better than Elon Musk. This is exactly what my Krishna Guruji teaches. You have the God-given ability to even become whoever you want to. And most important, become the best version of yourself. We are not here to compare anybody. Why is an example given? So that we learn that we have this within us and we can become better than that. And my Krishna Guruji will always teach us. See, sometimes when these examples are given, even I have misunderstood many a time, we think that, oh, it's a comparison, that I'm made to look inferior. No, on the contrary, my Krishna Guruji is saying, you can do better than this because you have a lot more abilities in you. Why are you not using the God-given abilities? This is exactly what he's teaching. But how does the mind comes to, oh, look, your Guruji is saying you're unworthy or the gutter snipe, whatever, right? It will give its own meaning, its own interpretation. But whose interpretation? It's your mind's interpretation. So that is why the mind has to be surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord, the Guru. And most important, you have to shut your mind and shut your mouth. That is very important. Silence is very important. Only then can you overcome, this state and be absorbed in yourself. Then you can do anything in this world. Then you will be able to conquer whatever that you aspire for. So you can go and achieve everything that you want. So nobody is telling you to become another being. You are perfect in your place. Please understand, everybody is perfect in their own place. You are all the jigsaw puzzle in this entire framework of the Divine Lord Almighty. And we all fit that piece extremely well. So you just have to play your role. Why are you looking at somebody else and thinking that you can play that role? No. If you were to play that role, then you would have been in that person's place. So this is the truth. So when you understand this truth, then you're not going to look at what somebody is getting, somebody is not getting. It doesn't matter. Strive, excel in your own field, become the best version of yourself. That is what is extremely important. And please understand, it's important to fail. If you don't fail, you don't know what it is to succeed. So embrace the lessons learned through the failures and apply it in your life to grow, to become that best version of yourself, that goddess, that real, all that hidden potencies that you have. The Devi Mahatmyam. Know that you are the Devi, whose greatness has to be glorified, which has to come out. That means empower yourself. This is the truth about it. So the moksha is nothing but being absorbed in yourself alone, and that is the moksha. To be fixed in the true self is moksha. Only by the knowledge of oneness between Brahman and the Atman, the ignorance will be dispelled. Hence, it is necessary to describe what is ignorance in order to understand it. Because of ignorance or avidya, it became Shabal. It brought differentiation or Shabalatva to the Brahman. It was given the name Sat, and in this way it became a subject of speech. Although originally it is beyond the comprehension of the sense organs, speech made it comprehensible to the intellect. Only then did it enter the mind and find expression in Omkara. He who leaves this body, meditating on this Omkar and chanting God's name, will find fulfillment of his life. Absolutely. That is why we say, always chant the name of the divine. No matter when the death strikes you, you will attain the lotus feet of your Lord alone. That is the most important thing. And then don't bother how this creation happened. Let's not go into all this gymnastic. And that is why I'm not even going to explain, because you will go into more complex thinking, and that's not going to lead us anywhere. Let's only stick to love and devotion, bhakti. Okay, bhakti is the most important thing, that knowledge which you need to get to overcome the ignorance, to dispel the darkness. With the grace of the Guru, it will anyway come to you. Why bother? But most important, you have to strive for it. Doesn't mean, oh, my Guruji is going to give the knowledge, I am not going to do anything, I will just sit and do nothing. That is going into tamasic state. No, you have to do your part of the day, studying, going and doing your job, doing your karma, your actions, your duties, everything is a must. But in the most dharmic manner. You have to do it as part of your dharma and swadharma. That is the most important thing. Not just sit and say, okay, God is going to give, then why am I here? I don't have to do anything. No. You have to do. So what I meant is that if the knowledge has to come to you, it will anyways come to you. In what form, through whom, which channel, that is none of your business to know. But it will come to you. The understanding will come. That is what I am saying. He who lives, through this expressible form of Brahman, that is Omkar, the unmanifest manifests itself. From the unmanifest comes the Mahatattva, which gives rise to the ego. So where does the ego come from? From the unmanifest comes the Mahatattva. From the Mahatattva, which is where the ego is risen. In the ego are the Panchtan Matra, from which come the 5 elements. Ultimately, it is from the 5 elements that this world is created. The manifestation of this avidya, maya, is itself the form and attributes of this world. To destroy this avidya, it is necessary to describe ignorance. So if you don't understand what is ignorance, then how are you going to overcome this avidya or the ignorance? And how is maya going to be dispelled? The most holy, clean, pure consciousness and Shabal, which is different from it, cannot be mixed up. Know that the directly perceived Brahman is different. It is very much different from the describable Brahman. Hence, these veils of ignorance should be removed by the power of instruction. What is it? By the power of instruction. And who can instruct you? Only the real master. Sadguru alone can instruct you, no one else. This instruction cannot come from anybody. So, please, and what is Lord Shri Krishna saying? You have to submissively, with absolute humility and humbleness, question the wise man, the knower of the truth. And then, when they are pleased with your humility, they will instruct you. This knowledge can only be got through instructions from the great master, the Guru themselves. The real Guru, not the fake Guru in this world that exists. When one dreams in the sleep, though the eyes are closed, the seeing mind itself sees all the 3 worlds, and it is avidya, which is the cause of this. What is the 3 worlds here? The sleep state, the sleep state, the deep sleep state, and the waking state. So this is the 3 worlds which the mind is seeing even when you are asleep. In reality, the object is one thing, but it appears to be quite another. A rope appears to be a snake, or an oyster shell seems to contain silver within. Yeah, this is an expression or an aphorism which is given in all the Vedas and Shastras. A rope appears to be a snake, but that is what they say, Maya. But when you understand that it is a rope, then it dispels that ignorance. Then you overcome, knowing, oh, it's only a rope. These are just the sun rays, and yet people call them a mirage. This is only a sport of Maya, before whom even the jnanis are powerless. Can you imagine? Yesterday also we did the same thing. How even the greatest of the jnanis, get bewildered by Maya. They are also overcome by the power of Maya. Nobody can, get out of this, the spell of Maya. But only with the grace of Lord Shri Krishna and your Guru will this Maya be dispelled. The ignorance shall be overcome. Taking in hand a lighted firebrand, when someone turns it round and round quickly, an illusory ring of fire is produced, and we realize how inconceivable are the doings of this Maya. Really, it is only fire, and there is no place for a ring of fire. Similarly, all this business and fuss of Maya and temptation has needlessly created this worldly life. Okay, this is a very profound truth. What is being said here? It said, really, it is only a fire. There is no place for a ring of fire. Similarly, all this business and fuss of Maya that everybody's talking about, Maya, this illusion and everything, and temptations has needlessly created this worldly life. It is just because of all this that you've been talking about, is needlessly, there is no need for it. It's needlessly created this worldly life. You have only given birth to it yourself. That is what is being said here. With such a firm resolve of the mind, when delusion goes away, this worldly life too fades away in an instant. What is it being said? The moment, with a firm resolve of your mind. So everything is in your mind, when that understanding dawns about the truth, when that, that spark, like my Krishna Guruji will say, Dimag ka batti jal. When this glow comes, that moment, that eureka moment, when it happens, when the delusion goes away, this worldly life too fades away in an instant like that. Then you understand everything is real, unreal. What you think is real becomes unreal in an instant. Then you know there is only one truth, one real thing that exists, and that is God alone. And I am this body and my home, my wife, all this is reduced to a futile exercise. Then at the end of the day, what happens? Then you realize, I am this body, my home, my wife, my family, my children, my husband, my mother, father, you name it, everything. All this is reduced to a futile exercise. Totally ensnared by the bonds of desire, such as sons, livestock, and so on, even those who call themselves Pandits and Jnanis can enjoy not an atom of happiness. This is a very important lesson. Let us understand what Baba is saying here. Totally ensnared by the bonds of desire, such as sons, livestock, and so on, even those who call themselves the great learned Pandits and Jnanis too, can enjoy not an atom of happiness. You can't enjoy even an atom of happiness. Then what makes you think you're going to get happiness when you get married, when you get a new job? My Krishna Guruji will say one very nice thing. You take how many ever job, you're going to be 6 months. It's like we say this honeymoon period. In the material worldly life, 3 months is the honeymoon period after you marry. And then your misery begins. The same thing with the job as well. 6 months is all you'll be very happy. And after that 6 months, you'll become a miserable person. But when you are detached, nothing shall affect you. That's the next subject. I'm not going to bring that now. But what is he saying? So there is no happiness. We think there is an happiness. And yesterday I explained to you, just to enjoy that little happiness, that momentary happiness, we destroy our life. And that for the rest of our life, we'll go through misery. What gives you that momentary happiness in the beginning, you will, the rest of your life, you will attain that misery alone until your end. Okay, you're going to be a miserable being. But in spirituality, Lord Shri Krishna also says, what is a misery or painful now, but at the end, it's the nectar sweet. When you attain that, you will have the blissfulness to eternity. That is the difference between the material worldly life and spiritual life. The process of spiritual journey is very painful. It's not easy, let me tell you. Many people, my Krishna Guruji will put each one in such a test, he'll test them, where do they stand. And some people can take it, some cannot, and then they'll go away. And you know what he'll say? Okay, see you in some other life of mine, and I will have to still come back. The same person has to come back and continue from where they stopped. So this journey is to eternity, which means you have to complete your learning. You can't leave it halfway. And if you leave it halfway and go, you have to again come back to continue from where you stopped. Simple as that. So my Krishna Guruji says, look, anyways, I have to keep coming back. Unfortunately, nobody there are idiots like you all where I have no choice but I have to come and teach you, who doesn't want to make any effort, who think that they are, this mind, body, ego, doesn't even want to make any effort. So I have no choice. I have to keep coming again and again. So I will meet you in some other life. For me, it doesn't matter. That's how I tell. So please remember, even then Pandits and Jnanis can enjoy not an atom of happiness. So what are you running after? What happiness do you think you're going to get? Nothing. In their minds, they have great conceit that they are proficient in the Shastras and very wise. that there is no one like them, and therefore they're always discontented. Oh my God. What is it? See, one of the most important thing you need to understand, this is called the ego of knowledge. And when you have the ego of knowledge, and that downfall is very hard, and you will not know what hit you in reality. And the moment you have an iota of this ego of knowledge, you're already destroyed. You're already become that gutter person, and you're already become the more ignorant being on planet Earth. You're in the tamasic state. Forget about any other, not even rajasic. You're in the tamas. My Krishna Guruji, even today, when we say, oh my God, your knowledge incarnate, he'll say, I know nothing. I don't know. I don't know is what he'll say. I'm not doing anything. I don't know. I have no knowledge. He will never acknowledge that he has knowledge, though he's the Lord Almighty and he's the knowledge incarnate. That is the truth. He will never say, I have any knowledge. And he'll always speak with absolute humility. And I have seen many people will come and show their prowess of knowledge in front of my guru. And you know what? He'll just say, oh yes. And he will give them, he'll just say, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I don't know. I've never learned any of this. Can you please tell me? Can you please teach me? This is the mark of the greatest masters who are knowledge incarnate. Remember this. All this half-cooked, baked, who don't even have one 10-cent brain also will come and talk in front of my Krishna Guruji. That is the reality. But the master of all subjects, there is not a single subject in this world that he doesn't know. You ask him about any subject, he can answer like this and give you in-depth understanding about that. And forget about just what is the past, but what is the future? What is going to be? He will tell you. He's a visionary himself. Because this entire universe is him. He's Sachidanand, the truth, knowledge and bliss. So who are you talking to? Shut your mouth and mind and go with humility to get little bit of 2 cents of brain for yourself. 2 paisa, knowledge. So in their minds, they have great conceit that they are proficient in Shastras and very wise, that there is no one like them, and therefore they are always discontented. This is Maya or ignorance or avidya. Prakriti Pradhan. It is this that the jnanis dispel at the beginning, so that jnana or knowledge manifests itself. What is that they dispel in the beginning? The Maya or ignorance, or it's called avidya or Prakriti Pradhan. It is this that the jnanis dispel at the beginning, so that the jnana or knowledge manifests itself. Jnana is self-enlightened, and it does not need to be taught or instructed about. Once ignorance is removed, the brilliance of knowledge will appear on its own. When a scintillating gem gets buried in a dirt and debris and years have passed by, its memory too is extinguished. My Krishna Guruji say, you are that diamond who's been lost in that gutter. It's all covered with all this muck and that mud and dirt and everything, the debris. So the Guru finds you, and what does he do? He's cleaning you. He's washing you, putting all acid washes, then he's cleaning you, removing all the muck on yourself. That is what he says. The Guru is the remover of the darkness. He dispels that ignorance. He's cleaning you thoroughly, and then he's chipping you so that the luster can be illumined on its own. So does that mean that knowledge didn't exist? Of course it's there. What is he doing? He's illumining. So it is mentioned here, when a scintillating gem gets buried in dirt and debris and years have passed away by, its memory too is extinguished. When by a wonderful concurrence of destiny and one's merit, it comes to hand at some future date, it appears to have lost all its original radiance, being buried under mud and stone. But once it is scrubbed clean and the covering of dirt is removed, it regains its original brilliance. Same is the state of knowledge. But who removes that ignorance? That is the Guru, is the one who removes that ignorance. So this is what is mentioned. The dirt and mud is ignorance. It is this ignorance that covers knowledge, and once the dirt is removed, the gem will naturally scintillate. Discriminating knowledge about things transient and permanent destroys sinful deeds and brings purification and virtue. It is this that gives rise to knowledge. This world is a marketplace of Maya, full of variegated things, real and fake. Many are the customers here who buy the fake, mistaking them for real. Of course, yes. You know, this world, I don't even have to explain, this is how the world is. Everybody go, 99.99% of the people will say the fake is the real, and only that 0.1% will know who is real. So such are the real gurus also in this world. The entire world, when the real master stands in front of them, they will throw stones and say, he's a fake guru. Okay, but the fake gurus will appear real to them, and this is Maya and this is ignorance. So they will not be ever able to, they will never be able to see the truth nor God. Even when God comes and stands in front of you, you cannot recognize them, because that grace doesn't exist. Even the grace is there, you don't take that grace. So that is your problem, not God's problem. And even the great and the wise are at with their wits' end, separating the fake and the real. One must understand those qualities which are deceptive. Hence, one must have with him a knowledgeable man or an expert. He here is called the Sadguru. Will at once show why a fake thing looks like the real one, and ignorance will then disappear at last. I think I've already given that explanation, but here Baba is coming with giving you so many times, he's trying to reiterate. I don't know what is going to enter in your gut brain. Can you ever recognize when Maya comes? Of course not. And that time you'll forget, the veils will become so strong. Then you'll have motherly attachment, brotherly love, all that. And where is your Guru and God existing? Nobody will exist. The real parents will appear unreal, and the unreal parents will become real in your life. That is Maya. Welcome. When ignorance is removed, only knowledge will remain, and Maya will be dispelled. Know that what remains is the truth. What is real needs no proof. Then you don't need the proof of the pudding to understand the truth. Truth is self-effulgent. It shines, and that's it. You just know that is the truth. Although the mind's eye is bright and clear, it is enveloped by the darkness of imagined notions. The darkness is dispelled by instruction. All that then remains is jnana. How is the darkness dispelled? By instruction. And who is the one who gives the instructions? The Sadguru. Here Baba has very clearly mentioned, he, here, the Sadguru, will at once show why a fake thing appears real. He is the only one who can give you that, grant that knowledge, why a fake, that is an unreal thing appears real, and a real looks unreal. Nobody else can, because Maya is, who is this Maya? The Lord's Maya. Very powerful. You cannot overcome her. But how do you attain? Only with the devotion, loving faith, with loving devotion to the lotus feet of Hari Guru, and only with the grace can the Maya be overcome. If the Lord has to be pleased, the Guru has to be pleased with your bhakti, with your seva, with your sadhana, then he will grant that moksha. What does the moksha mean? The moksha is not liberation. That is, you will be in oneness with them. And who is this oneness you will attain? The oneness is with the Guru, because the Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, the Parabrahma is the Guru himself. So when you became one with the Guru, you have attained that Parabrahma. So moksha, everything is attained. But first step is loving service, loving devotion unto the lotus feet of this Hari Guru. Till the time you don't do, nothing shall come to you. Although the mind's eye is bright and clear, it is enveloped by the darkness of imagined notions. What is this imagined notions? Look, we all have certain understanding about what life is, what we have learned, or people who have influenced for many years. But when you meet the master, that time, like my Krishna Guruji will say, when anybody enters Krishna ashram, please leave your ego, arrogance, and all this that you think you know, I know. Please leave all that knowledge or baggage that you're carrying from many lives, and from this life, please leave it outside and your chappal outside, and then enter Krishna ashram. When you're coming, shut your mouth and shut your mind. And if you're only coming to learn here, then come. Otherwise, please get out. We don't have, he's not interested in morons like you. Please understand. But my Guruji is compassionate being. He teaches the same thing million, billion, trillion times. Sometimes I get tired. I keep saying this every single day. I'll ask him, how do you do this? It's so difficult. It's very sad that nobody understands what you're teaching. Because nobody wants to learn. They all are enticed, bewildered. Maya has snapped them in her snares. She's entangled them. They only get lost in the material world. That is why the fake appears real and the real appears fake. So you will only be thinking the fake is the real one. So be lost in that. Be my guest. Really, it is just a garland that one sees on the way, but seen in the fading light of the evening, it appears to be a snake. The reason for the illusion being the veil of ignorance. I think we have discussed this enough. I am getting bored right now. When the torch hidden in the pocket is lit, the ignorance disappears and the real form manifests itself. The illusion of the snake is automatically dispelled. Hence, to remove the harm caused by ignorance, instruction is the only means. Let us come. What is Baba saying here? Hence, to remove the harm caused by ignorance, instruction is the only means. Who is going to instruct? The Sadguru. For which the jnanis wear out their bodies in explaining what ignorance is. The jnanis wear out the bodies explaining what is the ignorance. It must first of all be recognized that whatever one is destined to endure, good or bad, while in this worldly life, is due to the past karma performed out of ignorance. My God. Very true. I don't know how many can understand, but let me explain. This is one of the most profound chapters and I'm actually tired. There's so much hidden truth. I think this entire scriptures, which all the scriptures I've been talking about, Baba has literally explained all of this is one scripture, one lesson. Rather, the last few lessons, he's just been saying the same thing. It must, first of all, be recognized that whatever one is destined to endure, good or bad, while in this worldly life, is due to the past karma performed out of ignorance. What does it mean? See, because again I have explained this a million times, but again I will explain once more. When you have taken this body, there are certain good things happening, there are certain bad things happening. No matter whatever that happens is only because of your past karma performed out of ignorance, which means nobody is performing out of knowledge. It is performed out of ignorance. So when you have gone into your mind, your self-conceit, your mind's conceit, deceit, and you have performed certain actions, you have to come and repay for it. So there are people who will say, why is this life I am a beggar? Why am I born to a poor family? Why should my parents be a torture to me? Why should I endure such a painful husband? An autistic child or some other, something else, right? My son is not studying or my daughter is not studying. I'm born with, I've been left with so many different things, or disease, something that happens to us. All the unfavorable events, we always blame God. Why should I go through this? I have done so much good. Good. Whose yardstick is good? According to your yardstick, I'm sorry, sir. Everything that you're performing is because of this here. Baba has very clearly mentioned. And you think you're some great God Almighty. Is it that you perform some great good things? And please, if you don't perform good deeds in this life, you will again you will be born as a worm in that gutter. So it will be a worst, it will be a worse life than what you have. So redeem yourself this life at least. Don't go and do the same mistake what you have done in all your previous birth. Then what's the point in having this human birth? The reason you have been given this chance is so that you can redeem yourself, expiate your karmas and attain God realization, or at least be born in your next life in a pious family and a family with full of opulences, which is wealthy and rich. So that is what you can get. But if you don't do good in this life, which family are you? Which womb are you going to be born? You're going to be born in some demonical womb. That is being in tamas. Please know that. So don't tell me, oh, why am I suffering? We are such a great people. Ego. That itself is ego. Oh, I am the greatest. I am always right. 1947 story. Okay? I am the greatest God Almighty. There is nobody who are as perfect as. That itself is the ego. That itself is your downfall. You will go and be born into some other gutter. Please remember, be good, be loving. So, I hope you understood this lesson. So next time, please stop blaming God. Why is my life like this? Why should I suffer? Why have I cancer or why I have something? All is because of your karma. which you have performed in your past life. So don't blame God, whether you have lost your money, you have lost your child, you have lost your property, or if you don't have a child. Everything is part of your karma, so accept it graciously and don't ever blame God, because we human beings have a very dirty habit about blaming God. Why are you doing this to me? You think what, God is jobless? He's like a petty human being like you who's going to do bad to you? On the contrary, my God is the greatest one. He gives, he comes to redeem even the most unrighteous being. You know what he said? You know what my Krishna Guruji says? Even Baba has explained that these great masters, these great Sadgurus, give opportunity those who have fallen down to the ditch. You know why? He says they cannot fall any further. I only have to give my hand so that they can rise above. That is the greatness of these masters. Please remember and rise in your life. When God has given you that opportunity, don't waste it. Jnana is the only truth and Brahman is eternal, while Maya, Avidya are all illusions. When these illusions are removed, only then will the confusion about Jnana be removed. So, who will call him a Jnani whose ego is not subdued? There, I think I have explained enough. I am not going to go in more deeper. Please, if you want to live in your ego, please know that you're in the gutter. The seat of ego is called ignorance incarnate. Oh my God, Baba is beautifully described. The seat of ego is called ignorance incarnate. Oh, please be my guest. You know what my Krishna Guruji will say? When some people think that they are always right and, just to end a matter, he'll say, he has taught me a profound lesson. He'll say, just say sorry. You don't become small when you say sorry. On the contrary, you're rising their ego. And what happens when the ego rises? Ego is called the ignorance incarnate. But when you are truly sorry, it has to come from your innermost being. And when that sorry is said with that repentance, that is when you will be forgiven. And people don't understand what it means to seek pardon. Their ego is so strong. Please understand, till that sorry doesn't come from your innermost being, all your life you will have to repent for it. This is the truth. This is the spiritual truth. This visible bewitching worldly life, which is called a deluge of Maya and in which the world is totally engrossed, has for its basis ignorance. It is created from ignorance and its splendor is also born of ignorance. The feeling of plurality, where there is oneness, has its seat in ignorance. At a time when the light is dim with a shade of lingering darkness, the rope on the way appears to be a serpent, though in reality it is a rope. And this creates intense fear. And what drives a human being? Fear. Oh my God. Fear of the past, fear of the present, fear of the future, fear of everything. A human being, the whole world, is driven because of fear. I fear, what happens if I die? What happens if I sick? Oh my God, why fear? Why are you afraid of life? Face life. Doesn't matter what, worst come worst, what happens? You have to die. So die. How does it matter? But at least when you die, please attain the divine. Just, take his chant his name. So first conquer the fear. What is there to be afraid in life? There is nothing to be afraid. And this is what my Krishna Guruji taught. And you know what? In Bhagavad Gita, Uddhav Gita, every other scripture that he teaches is one thing. Lord Shri Krishna says, when you are with the divine, the first word is absolute fearlessness. You cannot be with the divine with fear. Oh, that is itself is wrong. Then what qualifies you to be with him? Of course, you are not even qualified over there. You are there itself, you are failed. Absolute fearlessness. So, the illusion of a snake is nothing but ignorance which has covered up knowledge, and unless this ignorance is removed, the mind will not become fearless. How do you overcome fear? Is through overcoming your ignorance. The most important is first you have to overcome the ignorance which is covered. The knowledge has been covered. So when you overcome this ignorance, then only the mind will become fearless. To some, it is a flower garland. To the eyes of some others, it is a stick. In short, it is all a delusion. Boundless tricks of misconception. That's very beautiful. So whatever you think you're seeing, is it through your mind's eye, which is nothing but, in short, it is all delusion. Boundless tricks of misconceptions. Everybody misconceives. I'll tell you a very simple thing. Sometimes, just with one word, can change the whole thing, and this is why my Krishna Guruji will say, we are only, trying to understand it using our mind, but we are really not understanding what is the other person saying. So have an open conversation, communicate clearly. Do not have this misunderstanding. The moment you have misconceptions, then you're going to get into more delusion. Because your mind has given you so many stories, but the truth is far beyond that. So always seek truth. Don't judge anybody. Don't think that you know. How can you know what is going on in the other person's mind? Why are you making judgments about anybody? You don't know the truth. And who knows the truth? Only Lord Shri Krishna knows the truth. So who the hell do you think you are to judge anybody in this world? Conforming to the aphorisms of Veda Shastras, the theist who believes in God, he alone is deserving of Brahmanyana. An atheist will never gain it for birth after birth. But is an atheist wrong? No, everything is in the God's creation. So everybody is perfect in their own place. That is the truth. Those who look upon this world from a contrary viewpoint see it as it appears, as opposed to the world as manifestation of God. But this is their misconception. They have no release from the birth-death cycle. The Brahma Tattva, which is so very inaccessible to them, is very easy of attainment to the spiritually deserving. Please underline the word. Baba said something very important. Let me reread this. But this is their misconception. They have no release from the birth-death cycle. The Brahma Tattva, which is so very inaccessible to them, is very easy of attainment to the spiritually deserving. What is it saying? Spiritually deserving. This is exactly what my Krishna Guruji will also say. First, you have to be deserving for receiving the grace and the knowledge. So spiritually, you need to be deserving. You can sit and listen to my Krishna Guruji satsang as much as you want, or go and sit even in front of him. Nothing shall open till the time you don't show your deservability. And this comes, you have to earn it. You can't buy with money, nor you can get it out of some magic. You have to earn it. Be deserving. And who's going to assess this deservability? The Sadguru, the God himself will assess. And then he will grant that knowledge. And this knowledge is not for everybody. And remember this. My Krishna Guruji will say, and he will never reveal. That is why Krishna is secretive and unknown. Nobody can know him. Only one in a trillion or whatever, just one being who is highly deserving. Only that being, with the grace of the Lord himself, the Lord will grant the grace for him to see him, that just for a fraction of a second. That is all that grace, and that spiritually deserving is only given by the Lord himself. Nobody can grant it. So first earn that deservability. Here, a mere discourse is of no avail, nor any authoritative knowledge of the Vedas or the intellect to comprehend many learned volumes or having read and being proficient in them. Exactly. You know what? I'm tired. The last few days, Baba is just making me tired. Because you know what? Same thing is explaining in so many different ways. But how many of you can you understand? You think this is such a simple lesson to understand like this? This one verse can go in for lifetimes. That is how it is. Words will give only literal knowledge. How can they convey the true perception of Brahman? Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm telling you. You just have to be devoted. Only with the grace of the God, you have to realize it yourself. Nobody can describe it with words. The intellect has all the power of discriminating knowledge, but the real thing, that is Brahman, is beyond its power. The Shrutis had great and earnest desire for it, but had to turn back, not having found that Brahman. Such is the magnificence of this real truth. The intellect cannot go. No, the intellect can go no further. What is it saying? Even the Shrutis couldn't describe this Brahman and have to turn back. So nobody can. You can't describe it with words. That is why we say self-realization, self-enlightened being, God realization. It's a realization, which means you just know. Yes, I understand, but you cannot describe with any words. So that is why it says self-realization, which means you only will have to realize. What I realize cannot be your realization. What you realize, I cannot realize. And we both cannot even describe in words. What is that experience like? You cannot put it to words. That is what is being said here. So the Shat Darshanas are exhausted and kept on arguing and debating about it, while the real thing remained where it was, as the words could never comprehend it. Even the great scholars were before it as glowworms before the sun. For once the Brahman is attained, the web of empty words fades away. Just see, in this world at night, all the activities are carried on in the light of the lamp. But when the sun rises in the morning, the lamp is disregarded completely. Hence, how can that be instructed which is not the subject of speech at all? Absolutely. How can you instruct something which is not the subject of the speech at all? You cannot. So, while narrating an allegorical tale, the aim of the speaker should be the removal of ignorance. So, what are we trying to do with all this? That's what Baba is saying. It's only through this leelas, the speaker should be able to remove the ignorance. He's only aiming to removal of your ignorance, that is all. But you cannot get the experience, or you cannot describe anything with words here. That is what is said. When Upasana is carried out with the belief in the existence of the Atman is pleased and reveals his real nature, thus becoming accessible to his worshipper. Who does the Atman reveal itself? To the worshipper, deserving, spiritually deserving. The Atman favors those who worship him when they meditate on him as God himself and regards them both as one and the same. For it, there is no other means. The Atman must show favor, seeing that the seeker is inclined towards himself. The Atman on his own bestows grace on him. Who bestows the grace on him? The Parabrahman. The Atman himself bestows the grace on him. When does he do? When you become spiritually deserving. When he is pleased with your devotion. I think we did this enough. At the conclusion of the subject of a book, the speakers always entreat the listeners to pardon them for the exertion of listening that they have been subjected to. This is the customary manner of the wise and learned everywhere. But this is not so about this Satcharita. The skill of writing, it is not mine. Sai himself has got his own story written, giving the pen in my hand. Absolutely. So I am not the one who is narrating. It is a divine Lord Almighty. I am mere an instrument in the hands of the divine. So both the narrator, the listener and the narrating itself is a prayer of worship, a service of listening, which is going to do as good as we evolve on the path of spirituality. It will dispel some amount of ignorance in our life. Hence, I am not the author and no one here is buried out on my account. If I say to the listeners, forgive me, then the merit of writing it falls on my head. But no credit is mine here, nor does any blame attach to me. Where Sai himself is the doer, it is only by his grace that the subject is brought to a conclusion. Taking Sai's permission, I have written it as he related to me. The narration about ignorance for everyone to listen to display his own glory, his prowess, his consequence. Gurudev entered my mind to narrate the significance of the subject. Absolutely true. It is the divine Lord Almighty Lord who gets it done. So they are universal mind. So what Hemad is saying is that the knowledge is the words are of his wisdom. We are nothing but a mere tool, an instrument in the hands of the divine. Puppet in the hands of the puppeteer. He's the one who pulls the string. Please remember this. Don't forget. Don't think, I am the greatest, I am writing, I am doing. No, you are not. Never take credit for anything. Never say, I am the doer. The moment you take the credit, you are gone into gutters. Those who find fault with this book or those who consider it as an adornment to me, they are both equally worthy of respect and are Shri Narayan incarnate. What is he saying? Those who find fault with this book or those who consider it as an adornment to me, they are both equally worthy of respect and are Shri Narayan incarnate. For the greatest benefit of the devotees, Shri Sai himself created his own life story, and holding his hand in his own, got Hemad to write out the story. His incarnating in a human body was solely for instructing the people graciously, for destroying evil thoughts and obstinate resistance, and for leading the people on the right path. What did I say? To establish dharma, to put a dharma back, to remove a dharma and put dharma back on the track, and to help all the unrighteous people to come back on righteousness and to evolve on the path of dharma and to follow their swadharma. And most important, what is the word he used here? Evil thoughts, destroying evil thoughts. We always think bad, negative, and all full of evil propensities. So you have to overcome all of that. And this body should be the place where all the, the field of goodness, the beautiful thoughts should nurture. You have to spread love. When you go, just your, presence should spread that goodness around. That is what you have to make yourself into. So, for destroying evil thoughts and obstinate resistance and for leading the people on the right path. So, hence, Hemad prostrates in obeisance single-mindedly at his feet. May the listeners listen with full concentration to the fascinating stories that follow. So here we end this chapter. We'll be to all. Here ends the 50th chapter of Shri Sai Satcharita called Dispelling of Ignorance, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous and composed by his devotee Hemad Pant. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. See you all tomorrow morning. Wishing you all a very happy Gurvan and have a wonderful day ahead. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Guru Nathanataya Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.